Tomm Moore and Ross Stewart, the creative geniuses behind Wolfwalkers. Is that okay to call you that, lads?
Please, call me a genius all you like.
Well, you've been called that before, isn't that right?
I only answer to genius now.
But fair to say, I don't often come in contact with Oscar royalty and things like that. I've not held one yet in my history yet, but hopefully one day, and hopefully for you guys as well.
Yeah.
Never held one either.
It'd be nice to hold some Oscar royalty and an Oscar.
Yeah, but you got pretty close.
Yeah, we've gotten close. Actually, yeah, I have actually held Oscars. We were we've made a lot of good friends in the business over the years, and animation community are very friendly at those awards. It's not like competitive really, and it's fun. So yeah, there's been some funny moments where friends of ours, usually people who work for Disney or Pixar, have been just jokingly gloating over their Oscars with us at the after party. So that's
they'd let you hold it, and then they'd snatch it back immediately before you got too precious.
It's always fun, especially Richie Bainham, who worked on Avatar, went to Ballyfermot College a few years ahead of us. Yeah, and he was sound, because he didn't go to any of the big Elton John parties or anything the year. He came back to like an Irish pub with all of us, which was very down to earth of him, and we all had to go with the Oscar.
Also, when we talk about the Oscars, Cartoon Saloon was there at a time when the Oscars actually existed properly. I mean, I don't want to see the Oscars like we have ever again. There'll be a virtual stream or something, and there won't be the fun parties anymore anyway. So you were there.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing to be there in real life and all. It was always kind of fun. It was especially fun just for our partners to be able to get dressed up and walk the red carpet and everything like that. And for me, the highlight is always, I mean, I know it sounds really kind of down to earth or whatever, but just getting to meet some of my animation heroes over the years, like people that I grew up watching their movies, has always been amazing, because you always end up hanging out with them for the whole week, meeting different, the whole Oscar thing, there's different lunches and parties and stuff. And you just end up spending a lot of time with these people that you would never get to hang out with otherwise. So that was always fun.
So releasing a movie at this time when coronavirus is happening around the world, did you think for a moment that you'd hang on to this film?
Well, there's always the threat and the danger of the cinemas not being open, but Apple TV Plus had it scheduled to go onto their streaming platform, which, as everyone knows, the streaming platforms are great for the global pandemic. Everyone can watch all these amazing films from home in their pajamas. So like we would still really be hopeful that the cinemas would open, and it's going to be released in Ireland on the 30th, if the cinemas are still open at that stage. But even if they are unfortunately closed, it'll still be on Apple TV Plus in December, so everyone can get to watch it then as well.
And you're right, the global pandemic has been good for the streaming services, but also in a way for a film, like a reviewer like myself, I do like to go to the cinema to switch off and totally connect with the film and all that sort of stuff. But being able to watch it at home in my jocks yesterday, like I was, we had a delivery man come over because we've just moved into a new house and he was installing the fridge. So he caught wind of this amazing thing going on my TV screen. And he was like, what the hell is that? And I said, oh shit, I shouldn't be showing you this. But like that will be a new audience of such, if you pop over to someone's house or, the mailman pops over and sees something through the screen, you're going to get an audience perhaps that might not have gone to the cinema to see this movie either.
Yeah, I find that even myself on Netflix as well, that like you'll end up watching films that you wouldn't normally go to see on the cinema, or you wouldn't actually rent out. So I think that's the good thing, that it is like, because it's there for free and you're scrolling through and you go, sure, I'll give it a go. You do find those accidental audiences,
little gems. What about the story now, Wolfwalkers? A story from Kilkenny, a true story that is being brought to the screen. How do you describe it?
You describe it, Ross.
Okay, well, it's the pitch, the elevator pitch is when the hunter becomes the hunted. So we have a young English girl and her father, who's played by Sean Bean, come over. He's a wolf hunter and he's coming with the Cromwellian invasion of Ireland. And he's tasked to wipe out all the wolves in this forest beside Kilkenny. And Robyn wants to be just like her dad, so she goes out hunting wolves too. And then she ends up getting into an encounter with a wolf, kind of a magical wolf, and gets bitten. And it starts a whole process of her interaction with this world of the Wolfwalkers, where there's like, they're kind of like a magical half wolf, half people tribe that are there to protect the wolves. So there's a huge butt up against the Cromwellian want of extinction of wolves in Ireland. but it's a tale of friendship and magic and healing and like war with Oliver Cromwell.
And there is a bit of truth when I say truth, Tom, in the mythology of it all. This comes from somewhere in the Irish folklore, yeah?
Yeah, well, I mean, like the history is a little bit later than the mythology. The mythology is from around the 12th century, as far as we could find it. And it's not as well known. I think it's because the wolves have disappeared from the landscape. The stories kind of faded with the wolves. But back in the day, when there was a lot of wolves in Ireland, there was a lot of mythology around wolves. And the ones in particular that we worked with were the wolves of Ossory, the man wolves of Ossory, which were these stories of tribe of pagan people that wouldn't convert for St. Patrick. And because they would howl at the moon whenever he was trying to preach, he put a blessing or a curse on them that they would become wolves when they slept. And so this led to all these amazing like stories of like, I suppose like a wolf lassie story, you know, where someone would be lost in the forest and then a kind wolf would guide them home and they'd go, oh, that was probably one of the man wolves of Ossory that helped me. So that was the mythology we were drawing from.
It's a beautiful film and dark and, you know, scary at times and things like that. I wonder, were you hoping for it to be a film for kids that adults would like, or the other way around? I'm just wondering how you approached the visuals.
I would say that from the beginning of my career, I took the maxim from Chuck Jones, who created Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and all. He said, you have to make cartoons that are intelligent enough for children, but simple enough for adults to understand.
I like that, because it does tick all the boxes, really. There's something in it for everyone.
Yeah, I think kids would hopefully follow Robyn and Mebh's journey and get involved in the action and adventure and, you know, the magic and that. But there's some you know, adult themes behind it, you know, especially about like species extinction and environmentalism and about protecting nature. But hopefully the kids, as they grow up watching these kind of like films and hearing these stories, that they'll, you know, start thinking about that as they age, and maybe we'll have a generation that'll take care of the planet instead of wrecking it, you know.
Fingers crossed. I must ask you about the song in the middle as well. Where did that come from? Such a beautiful piece, a centerpiece song in this middle of the film.
Yeah, I kind of came across it on a run. I used to take runs at lunchtime when we were in production, and I had a playlist or whatever, and it came up, and it was called Running with the Wolves by Aurora Ackness, who was a young singer, and I could imagine that could be the inner voice of Robyn in the movie. And we had a sequence that we were kind of thinking would be a musical high point, but we didn't know exactly what was going to go in there. So we tried out the song, and the original version was quite electronic, quite poppy. So people were like, really, Tom, are you sure? But we reworked it with Aurora, with Keela, with Bruno and the orchestra, and kind of made it part of the soundscape of the movie. And I think it has become the kind of visual and musical tentpole of the movie. And probably the sequence I'm most excited to rewatch. And
but it's so beautiful. And then just, like you said, to stumble across that song while you're making a movie called The Wolfwalkers.
I think I can thank the algorithms, you know, that knew I was listening things about wolves.
You've done enough Google searches for wolves, and then suddenly it's like, all right, let's give this guy all the wolves he can get.
So what's next? I guess for animators, it's easy to work throughout a global pandemic. You don't have to worry about social distancing in a lot of ways. What are you guys working on at the moment that you want to tell us a little bit about, perhaps?
Well, it is challenging, I have to say. Like, we managed to finish Wolfwalkers and everybody working from their bedrooms. You know, you can do it, but it's not how we'd like to work. I mean, animators are solitary nerds, that's for sure. But at the same time, it's good for us to get together in the studio and see each other in real life. But we are managing to keep in production. We have a movie version of the TV series that we've done, Puff and Rock, which is, again, for preschoolers. We're talking about climate change, where we have all these puffins from other islands that the weather has become so inclement that they all have to move to Puff and Rock. So it's a really interesting story. And then there's a massive feature film that we're doing for Netflix that Nora Toomey, one of the partners in the studio, is directing. And it's called My Father's Dragon. And it has like a really starry cast of Hollywood types. And it's probably the biggest project we've ever done. So I'm excited. Like, sometime in 2022, we'll unleash that. And I think that's going to be another evolution in the visual and ambition style of the studio, you know.
Well, Tomm or Ross Stewart, thank you for your time, and thank you for Wolfwalkers. It is a beautiful film, and I've been humming that song all throughout the last 24 hours since I watched that movie. You've got a soundtrack success as well as a film success with this film. Thank you, Cartoon Saloon, and thanks for your time on Radio Nova.
Thank you very much, Clint.